Thank you, Chanduko. 18 minutes to 5 o'clock. Let's get back to our conversation with obstetrician and gynecologist at Mediclinic Southern Africa, Dr. Kasturi Moodley. We are chatting advances in reproductive medicine and in particular IVF and everything in between. Doctor, welcome back. Thank you for hanging on.
No problem.
So, Doctor, let's chat about, the advances in reproductive medicine. What is happening that you're excited about that we can look forward to, like in the next 5 to 10 years? Because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this isn't the conversation we were having. It was still all a bit new and a bit fuzzy. But what's happening in your space that we should be looking out for?
I think it must be remembered that fertility treatments or infertility management is a very young baby in itself. It's only about 30 years, 35 years in the making. So to know how far we've actually come to date is actually quite phenomenal. And it is exciting day by day, in fact, week by week. When you are dealing with a patient, when you are in a laboratory looking under the microscope, and when you are looking at pictures of your eggs and your embryos and transferring them into, and when you get that positive pregnancy test, and then you see a baby at the end of that, that in itself is truly, truly phenomenal and actually miraculous. So I think the finer details with regards to improved laboratory techniques, improved fertility actual treatments, fine-tuning, fine-tuning towards each individual patient and circumstance. I think those will be the finer details that we'll be looking forward to improve our success rates. But I think how far we've actually come to date, it's still mind-boggling to me with every patient that we have and every time we see these eggs and embryos in the laboratory is just truly, truly amazing.
Doc, as a woman who's been struggling with endometriosis since I was, I think, 17 years old, I'm at an age now where, kids are a part of the conversation, are a part of the plan. And about a month ago, there was a weird grief that I went through where, it was late, cycle was late, and, we're kind of expectant. You're kind of like, oh, okay, this might be a brand new chapter. And then you get your cycle. No one really speaks about the grief of that, the grief of the expectations now slowly dissipating because of the different, cycles you go through. Is there enough coaching that doctors do? So I know the medical part of it, but the emotional part, do we coach couples enough on navigating the grief of failed IVF processes, failed conceiving processes, IUI processes? Do doctors kind of invest in that, or should they invest in that?
They should absolutely be investing it in. That is one of the main reasons why I decided to get into this field, why I feel so passionate about it, because I felt that it was hugely lacking, where even though it's a medical condition and there are very specific problems that perhaps are irreversible, that warrant these treatments, but there's a huge emotional component to this entity that absolutely has to be addressed, because like I've always said, when you're trying for a baby and it happens naturally, it is joyous, it is exciting, and it's all part of the plan. But when every month that passes, you get a negative test, it's more disappointment, it's more feeling of failure, it's more isolation. So you're already coming into the room when you first see us at the fertility clinic with emotions, negativity that has been building up over months to years, that first needs to be unpacked before a treatment actually starts. And when we counsel patients that are suitable for treatments, yes, we go through a very, very rigorous counseling session as the fertility doctor, and we do advise our patients to go to specialized care in addition, if needed, before, during, and after.
Dr. Kasturi, another barrier to entry is the money and the finances around these treatments. We don't know anything about how much it costs, except that it's a lot. Can you give us an idea in terms of finances, what the entry level process would cost, so that we can maybe just get our minds around that from that perspective?
So, yes, this tends to be quite a big stumbling block because one of the misperceptions is that it is unaffordable and that I won't be able to afford it. Therefore, I won't even take a step closer to it. But let me put it in perspective without giving actual figures. There are cars out there are fridges out there are televisions out there that have varied rate in terms of from a lowest to a highest value. And so we then, as human beings in our lives, we save up and we decide what is our budget, and then we decide, okay, this is what I'm going to get for myself. Now, when it comes to fertility, the difficulty in giving you a number is that when a patient comes to us, we don't know what treatment that patient is going to need. So we cannot say to the person, this is the amount or this is the figure for what you need to budget for. Once we've done our investigations and we then know this is what you're suitable for, but more importantly, this is what we are going to do in the treatment and take you through step by step why, what does the cost entail, and what is it inclusive of. 100% of patients have then understood it at face value, and then it doesn't seem so unaffordable. And that applies to whether it's IUI, whether it's IVF, or whether it's ICSI. So throwing a figure of whether it's 10,000 or 35,000 or 100,000, that sounds like a hell of a lot. But like I said about a car versus a television, if we say to you, this television costs 30,000 rands, you'll think to yourself, oh, that's a lot of money. But if the person then says to you, but this is what this television is going to provide you, and you prefer that, then that will not be so much for you, you see? So I think it's about perspective, and it's about each individual couple that needs to understand it for themselves.
Dr. Kasturi Moodley, thank you so much. Where can we find you if we need to come see you, or if we just would like to get some more information?
We are at the Mediclinic Pietermaritzburg. We are at Midlands Fertility Health Center. So they can Google us at Midlands Fertility Health Center, midlandsfertility@gmail.com, or Mediclinic Pietermaritzburg, and then Dr. Kasturi Moodley, or the Midlands Fertility Health Center on all the different platforms, Facebook, Instagram.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much, Dr. Moodley.